Hello everyone, this is the V-Man and welcome. So this is a third video in 3 days, so I can meet a quota I've set myself for 3 videos a week. Today in GT Sport in Daily Race C, we are racing at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps. We have been waiting for this track in GT Sport for a long time, so it was given to us with the last update. This is my first encounter with this track, and because my week was fairly busy, I didn't have much time to practice. So I was able to practice only for about an hour, and I managed to set a lap time of 2:18.7. I was doing that with a Grande Macchina Audi R8, and that lap time of mine was enough for a 10th starting position. I was rated 11th on this lobby, and because of that short practicing session, I wasn't confident enough in my driving, so the plan for this race was to just stay on this position, not to go below 11th place, and of course to wait for my opportunities or for chance to overtake or to improve. So race is starting. This is the 8th lap race. We have tire degradation, we have fuel consumption. And at first I was driving this car like I have all the fuel in the world, but soon enough I realized I need to do some fuel saving. So we are going downhill, we are approaching the legendary corner or a curve, Eau Rouge. We go left and right flat out for those who are confident enough. I was overconfident here, so I went off the track and I was given a 0.5 second penalty. This track has only one spot for serving a penalty, and it is on this Camel Straight on which we are right now. So we passed that spot and we are passing the Camel Straight, so I will be doing my penalty serving in the next lap. So as I was saying, because of that short practicing session, I wasn't confident enough in my driving, so the plan was to just try to be consistent, to have good decent laps. That's my theory. If you drive consistently, you will have a good result. Spa-Francorchamps has a really big difference in height, so we have a lot of downhills, uphills. Also we have fast corners, slow corners, blind corners, you name it. So it's very difficult to stay consistent here, to be fast and to win a race, of course. So I will need a long practicing session before I become competitive on this track. So one more thing is, it's okay to stay close to the curves here and to go over them, but you don't want to go too much over them, because when you do that you disturb the balance of the car, and when the balance of the car is disturbed, then the car tends to slide, and when it slides it loses speed, and when it loses speed you lose time, and you know what I'm talking about. So you don't want to do that. So I'm catching up with the cars ahead. I almost crashed into the Ferrari, but I managed to slow the car down in time. So first lap is done, we are starting with the second. We are approaching La Source, first sharp corner. It is very important to have a good exit out of this corner, because we have now long straight, we are going downhill, then we are going through the Eau Rouge and onto the Camel Straight, where we'll be serving our penalty. Slipstream of course is very strong here. You can see how fast I am catching up with the Ferrari, but I will be serving penalty and probably some other cars will do it. So 3 cars were doing it also. I barely managed to go around them, and I was going up in positions from a 10th place to a 7th. That's the good thing. So I was starting to establish a pace, to have a rhythm, so I was hoping I can stay here until the end of the race, of course. So the plan is to change the tires and to refuel somewhere around 5th or 6th lap. I wasn't doing any practice on strategy, so I don't know how this car behaves, but so far tire degradation is good, fuel consumption also, and I think that with some heavy fuel saving this race can be done with no stopping. So that's at least a theory. I didn't test that, I don't know. This is the end of the week and I didn't want to let next week to start without trying this track and without uploading that video. So I went a little bit off the track. I picked a lot of dirt into my tires, so I was sliding and I was slowed down, of course, because of that. But Polyphony Digital just thought that that isn't enough, so they gave me another 0.5 second penalty. So they love to rub salt on a flesh wound, but we are used to that by now. So we are continuing with the race and we will be serving our penalty, of course, into the next lap. This is a chicane, this is the last lap, and I went too much over the curb, as I was mentioning before, and I spun out. So one more mistake of mine, and I was rejoining the track. I bumped a car behind me a bit, but no big damage was done. So once again, going to the La Source, we are having decent exit, and chasing a car ahead. I'm on my starting 10th position, so nothing is gained, nothing is lost. So far so good. We are going to the Camel Straight. I was lifting off a bit in the Eau Rouge because I wasn't confident I can do it flat out. I moved to the right after I was serving my penalty, because if there's any car on the racing line, but there wasn't at the moment. Now they are close, so I must think how to defend myself. I must dive defensively, and this is somewhat fast sector or section of a track, so there is not much room for overtaking. I just need to be on a racing line, and I think that the car from behind will not have a chance to overtake me, at least in this section. So defending and trying to catch up with the guys ahead so I can use their, of course, slipstream. That's the plan and whole point of racing. So for those who are watching for the first time, I am playing this game for around 2 months now. I had some long breaks, 2 or 3 months, something like that, and the goal in this game is to become an S-rated driver, and while doing that to set a lap time on any track which will be among top 10 star lap times. So that's the plan, at least. And all of this driving racing is the way to build my driving skill, to build my experience, and so on and so on, so I can become an S-rated driver. I'm currently a rated driver. Of course, I'm doing offline racing, and so far I'm having some partial results. Almost every time I have a couple of good races, then a couple of bad races, so I'm constantly hovering somewhere around 34,000 points, and I hope that with time I will improve my driver rating a little bit faster than I'm doing it right now. So fourth lap is beginning. I'm going to the Eau Rouge once again. I was lifting off a bit, and once again I went off a track maybe 2 pixels, and I was given another 0.5 second penalty. Because this is a very fast track, it's not that big of a deal when you get 1 penalty, 0.5 seconds, but when you get 3 or 4 of them, then it becomes a problem. But once again, as I said, so far so good. I'm at my 10th place, and that was the plan. So I was starting to catch up with these guys, and I was really close, and I was saying that a few times before. When I'm that close to the cars ahead, I lose a reference point on where to brake. So that is what was happening right now. I missed my braking point and I went off. So I lost 2 more positions, but still, after all that was happening, my mistakes, penalties, we are not in that bad place, and we are only at the 4th lap, so there is still time for us to improve our position. So diving behind the cars once again, but they are now close enough so I can use their slipstream, and of course I will get only closer and closer, so I will be probably having a chance to improve. So that's the good thing. One more thing for those who are watching for the first time, I am diving under the Slovenian flag just because of the one reason, and the reason is there is no my country's flag in this game, and that's the only reason why I am diving under the Slovenian flag. So coming to the chicane, this is the last corner of 4th lap, decent exit. We are still following that car ahead, so going to the last source, and we are hoping that we can have some opportunity to overtake. We have one car going out of the pits, so approaching Eau Rouge. I am still not confident doing it flat out. I was lifting off and I made a mistake on a most unlikely space or place, sorry. So I was given another 0.5 second penalty. So this race was full of the penalties. I, as I said, had a short practicing session, so this is the consequence of that. So nothing much was happening until the end of that lap, so we are going now into the pits to change our tires and to do refuel, and I will stay silent until the pit crew does its job. So pit stop is done, it's over. Pit crew was good, so they are going to get some extra cookies as a bonus. And we are now on the fresh tires, so I am right away confident enough to go to the Eau Rouge flat out. So I did that, and you saw there nothing was happening. This is the 8th and the final lap. I am at the 14th place. Because of that pit stop, of course, I fell down 2 places. I mentioned in the beginning of the video I was driving this car as I was having all the fuel in the world, and I burned too much fuel, so I spent too much time in the pits refueling. But this Russian guy had a moment, he was off the track, so immediately I was trying to overtake his position. I was attacking him. He was closing doors, so I was waiting for the right opportunity to do a move on him. So while I was driving behind him, I realized that he's mostly driving in the middle of the track, so that was telling me that he is also not that confident in his driving. So it was just a matter of moment when I will be in opportunity to overtake him, or his position, sorry. So here I was really close. I was looking on the inside. He, as you can see, is driving on the middle of the track, so am I, because I'm following him, and I went here on the inside. I gained a little bit of time. I was looking on the inside once again. No, I just waited for another moment, and he was oversteering at this moment, so I managed to go on to his right side on the inside, and I managed to complete the move there. So we are once again, for the last time in this race, going to the Blanchimont, and we are preparing to go into this corner flat out, but we didn't manage to do that. I had to lift off. So some yellow flags, chicane, last corner until the end of the race. So good exit, and one guy spun out 2 millimeters before the finishing line, so that was a nice thing. So we improved 2 positions in last lap, so a decent result from a 10th position to 12th. We were planning not to do that, but it was beyond us. So that was it. That was my race at the Spa-Francorchamps. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, turn the notifications on, and thanks for watching. See you next time. The B-Man is out.